All right, we are live for another episode. We are back for the live Clow card readings, and it's been a while, so I'm very excited to do this. We decided to take a little hiatus and a break because we've started the album discussions, which we will be back for tomorrow. I just have kind of been taking the day to decide, do I want to talk about all my solo albums first, or do I want to go in chronological order? And I'm actually leaning on the idea of just going in chronological order just because we've done that so far, and also because some albums haven't been released yet, so it's just probably easier to do it that way. But just in case anybody's interested, though, the album we will discuss tomorrow in that regard would be the fifth album I recorded, which is actually the debut album with the S.O.S. Brigade Quartet, the jazz band. So I will also talk a bit briefly about the live covers of recordings that we did leading up to it, because this was all recorded roughly around the same time. So we'll talk about that just because that wasn't released as like a full album, but more like a live performance of cover songs, because legally to get the rights to release those songs, it would have been more trouble than to just publicly release it and pay tribute as like a live recording. So I will talk about it briefly. We will discuss the songs, and we will talk about the 20 tracks on the S.O.S. Brigade Quartet's album, A History Lesson, and that will be the plan for the album discussion tomorrow. So tonight, though, and we will be starting this third season of live Clow card readings, I've decided that we will do a new episode every Tuesday night for the third season. So that way, everybody will have a definite date every week if they want to check it out. It would be at 7, and you would 7 p.m. Eastern time, and you would check it out. And then if you comment gender, zodiac sign, and what you would like a reading for, general, future, romance, or career, I will give you a reading. And like I say with the other episodes in the previous seasons too, you can comment after the broadcast is finished, just on the regular video. And if I see your comment, I'll be sure to give you a reading in the following episode. That way, if anybody misses an episode and they want their fortune told, you still have the luxury of doing it. We will also read from some Neville Goddard. We will discuss my new single and how well it's progressing. And of course, we will talk about The Woman I Love, Hitomi Shinatani, and of course, the wonderful autograph that she gave me, and the fact that she's not doing so well. So I would ask everybody to assume the best for her or pray for her, whatever you really believe in. It's your choice, right? But just send out positive energy that she will get well soon. As the woman I love most, it does concern me that she's kind of overexhausted herself working so hard lately that she needed to cancel a show and take a break and a rest, I guess we'll say, to recover and recuperate. Probably with the heat and the fact that she's 42, she's not as young as like the Angelus or Papillon days. So hopefully she'll get well soon, and she shouldn't push herself too hard. I mean, she's already done so much wonderful music. Even if she didn't make another song, she would have always been the greatest artist I've ever known in my eyes, and the woman I love most. And because I love her so much, I wish for her to get well soon. So yeah, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, what tonight's episode will entail, please feel free to comment live if you would like your fortune told after I do my fortunes, before we get into the discussion and the reading of Neville Goddard. And I haven't done a reading for myself in a while, so I'm very excited to see what the Clow cards will reveal to me. Oddly enough, I've actually been re-watching the Clear Card series, the Japanese dub again, and I actually got to finally watch the Card Captor Sakura 2 movies. I'd never seen them before. The first one, and then there's the second one, the Sealed Card, which is where she actually captures the Nothing. I didn't know that she did in the movie, and that's where that card came about. And apparently the crazy thing about that was that the Nothing card was actually so powerful. It was as powerful as the other 52 cards created by Clow just by itself, but on the negative spectrum of things, the yin and the yang. That's why it was sealed away. And actually, after Ariel returns to England, they bulldoze his house and they build an amusement park over it, which sets free the nothing card, the sealed card, and then it wreaks havoc. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much of the plot twist. I would definitely recommend, if you're interested and you're a fan, especially if you like the Clow card readings, definitely check out the movies. And the cool thing is, they mention that in the Clear Card series that the house had been bulldozed and turned into an amusement park. And they comment that the house had been rebuilt and nobody seemed to notice that the amusement park just vanished out of thin air, which was all the main villain of the Clear Card series, Kaito D's doing, Yuna D. Kaito. So, oddly enough, I can't wait for them to make the second season of Clear Card because I'm dying to know what happens after the end of the first season. But rewatching it, it's just great because even the original was one of my favorites, and I love how they revamped it, and it's like a fun family reunion to see all the characters back in action again, and that's why I also love the movies. So yeah, we'll start off with the general reading tonight. I think I've shuffled these cards pretty good. Just a little more shuffling, perhaps. And then, yeah, we'll start off with a general reading. Hopefully, shed some answers and some light on the future to come. All right. So, and this actually marks the 7th month not smoking marijuana. So, longer than I've ever gone without smoking it. And I'm very proud of that accomplishment as well. Anyways, oh great Clow cards of Kurorido, using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars, reveal to me what message you have regarding my general future. Release. The shield, the return, the change, the light, and the rain. Okay, so we have the shield card, followed by the return, the change, the light, and the rain. So this actually, I feel a really good sort of mystical energy from drawing these 5 cards in this particular order. It actually gives me a very positive outlook of what it's trying to tell me. Now, the shield card is basically indicating being guarded, watching the environment and the circumstances around me, not letting it get to me and triggering me to react, but more so responding to everything in the appropriate manner as we go along. The return card indicates reflecting on the past for both the good and bad and trying to see the good. The change indicates that a massive change is in progress, that I'm becoming a completely different person than I was. The light card is indicating that there is really a big, huge, I'll show the change too, and the light. The light card is indicating that my own inner strength, my own inner light is starting to shine its brightest, that all the things that I want to focus on and all the things that I would ideally see myself as are starting to actually unfold into the surface. The rain indicates that, well, basically it's pouring out an abundance of what the previous concepts within myself that I've been manifesting and basically envisioning and imagining within myself are starting to actually pour out in different and many sort of ways, that everything is leading up to the fulfillment. To get a bit more clarity, we'll draw another 5 cards now. Oh, great Clow cards of Kurorido, using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars, reveal to me now what other message you have for me regarding the general future. Release. Shock. Power. Fight. The lock. And little. Okay, so the first card we got, which I didn't show the rain card either, the rain from the last one. last 5. So we have the shot, which indicates like taking a leap of faith, going for it, really taking advantage of every opportunity that presents itself. The power card indicates like an increase of strength, power, positive vibration. Things are rising in elevations in sort of a mental and spiritual way. The fight indicates this is the time to really fight and battle it out in a good way, in a positive way. It means like this is when I really have to stay strong and not let the negativity sway me from staying in this positive vibration. The lock indicates like fixating more on what I want and viewing everything that happens as sort of what's the key to unlocking everything. The little indicates that any problems that I actually would perceive there being now, or obstacles or difficulties, are actually much smaller than they may appear to be. So that's very good clarity on like sort of the answers I've been seeking regarding the general future. Now we will do a reading for romance. Oh, great Clow cards of Colorido, reveal to me what message you have regarding my romantic situation. And using the power of the sun, the stars, and the moon. Release. Very interesting. All right, so first we have the earthy card, the through card, the create, the watery, and the freeze. Now, this is very interesting because there is a lot of energy in this reading as a whole, because the 4 primary elemental cards are wind, earth, water, and fire. There's other elemental cards, but those are the 4 primary elements. So the fact that the earth and the watery are in the mix, this is actually a really good sign of there's a lot of naturalness to this. This is like you could say the universe is sort of uniting, like the whole planet is beginning to shift as a result of all this. The earthy card indicates like that this romance has a solid foundation, that it really is built upon like the earth. It's meant to be seen within the world. It's the earth is the rock of all of this, and that distance doesn't really matter because it's all maintained on the same earth. It's got a natural force. It's the law of nature is all working in effect with this. The through indicates that both people in this romantic situation are both going through things, certain challenges, certain predicaments, which is very true. I could definitely see that. The create indicates that this romance is currently being created, like the story is being written out as we speak, and that everything is leading up to its fulfillment. The watery indicates that there are forces that are washing the slate clean, that there are sort of things that seem to separate it, but really the fact that the earth and the watery are united is that though they seem to deny it, they're actually leading up to it, that they are in unity. And it's like the natural process of everything just involves both sort of the yin and yang, the positive and the negative of each of these situations. The freeze indicates that things kind of seem still or frozen, and that's probably perhaps because both of us are in states where we both need to sort of recover and become stronger before we unite. But overall, this is a very positive reading because it indicates that everything is happening in its own natural way, even if it seems like it's not. So, very good. Very happy about that reading. And now we will do a reading for career. Oh, great Clow cards, Kurorido. Reveal to me what answers you have to guide me with my career using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Rebis. Funny I was mentioning this card, I got that. But depending on what the other cards are, we will see how they all combine and what the meaning of it all is. Ooh, okay. Okay, that first card kind of scared me, but now that I see that the other polar opposite of that card is actually there, and then combined with the other cards, this is actually a really good sign because it actually reflects like that everything in the universe is sort of on its own sort of swing right now. Like everything is kind of equal in that sense because this reading in itself would tie into the idea that my reading would be very similar energy for the career as it would be for romance. So the first card we got, oddly enough, I mentioned it, and it's so crazy I drew it because I talked about this card, was the nothing card. The nothing card was first. The big card came second. The maze card came third. The hope card came fourth, which is very good. And then the flower card. So if we combine all these cards, because the hope is actually almost like the polar opposite of the nothing. Like if there's nothing, like everything is all hope is lost, it's like the hope is like, no, there's nothing but hope. So it's like everything is equal and opposite. There's a balance. To have both these cards actually show up at the right time is actually a very good indication that everything is actually aligned and the way it should be. The nothing indicates that maybe it seems like nothing's really going on, nothing's changing with my career. It could also mean that there's nothing I can really do at the moment, but that the fact is the hope actually indicates that there are things going on. There is the hope that there will be something I can do very soon that will lead to the progression of success. The big indicates that this is going to be like a very big opportunity regarding the career coming up. The maze indicates sort of confusion of how to maneuver and move around certain areas of the career, how to really handle certain aspects of like being an artist and a musician, because that's what my career ideally is. The fact that like this takes us back to the hope. The hope is saying though that the big opportunity is coming, that it is more or less the illusion of what is going on that makes it equal and opposite, but really there's things going on behind the scenes, and that's what I should focus on is the hope for that. The flower indicates that actually new opportunities and new sort of elevations within the career are actually beginning to flower and blossom, which we look at it with my new single I just released 2 days ago. It's already got over 100 views, 6 likes, quite a few comments, and it keeps climbing, and it's gotten a lot of praise. So it's like there is actually the idea that this could be like the big hit of all hits. So from the understanding of that, it's actually a phenomenal reading regarding my career. Very hopeful and positive. Very interesting too that I mentioned the nothing card and that showed up too. I was like, that's crazy. Anyways, we will get into our reading of Neville Goddard's book, and then we will finish off the rest of the evening with discussion time. Or unless somebody else wants their fortune told, I will tell your fortune as well. All right, so let's see what it wants me to. You know what? It actually went to this chapter first. So we're going to read this just because this was the first chapter it landed on. It's the chapter 4 of Goddard's book, The Power of Awareness, Desire. So he writes, the changes which take place in your life as a result of your changed concept of yourself always appear to the unenlightened to be the result not of change of your consciousness, but of chance, outer cause, or coincidence. However, the only fate governing your life is the fate determined by your own concepts, your own assumptions. For an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The ideal you seek and hope to attain will not manifest itself, will not be realized by you until you have imagined that you are already that ideal. There is no escape for you except by a radical psychological transformation of yourself, except by your assumption of the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Therefore, make results or accomplishments the crucial test of your ability to use your imagination. Everything depends on your attitude towards yourself. That which you will not affirm as true of yourself can never be realized by you, for that attitude alone is the necessary condition by which you realize your goal. All transformation is based upon suggestion, and this can work only where you lay yourself completely open to an influence. You must abandon yourself to your ideal as a woman abandons herself to love. For complete abandonment of self to it is the way to union with your ideal. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled until your assumption has all the sensory vividness of reality. You must imagine that you are already experiencing what you desire. That is, you must assume the feeling of the fulfillment of your desire until you are possessed by it, and the feeling crowds all other ideas out of your consciousness. The man who is not prepared for the conscious plunge into the assumption of the wish fulfilled, in the faith that it is the only way to the realization of his dream, is not yet ready to live consciously by the law of assumption, although there is no doubt that he does live by the law of assumption unconsciously. But for you who accept this principle and are ready to live by consciously assuming that your wish is already fulfilled, the adventure of life begins. To reach a higher level of being, you must assume a higher concept of yourself. If you will not imagine yourself as other than what you are, then you remain as you are. For if ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. If you do not believe that you are he, the person you want to be, then you remain as you are. Through the faithful, systematic cultivation of the feeling of the wish fulfilled, desire becomes the promise of its own fulfillment. The assumption of the feeling of the wish fulfilled makes the future dream a present fact. End of chapter. So now that we've read that, of course, especially because we're going to talk quite a bit about this, I figure I'll bring this out to show everybody. This is a signed copy of Hitomi Shimatani's single, which translates into The Maiden with Flaxen Hair, as you could see, autographed. And it's quite a keepsake, especially with her being like the person I love most, my favorite Japanese pop singer. It's something I really treasure. In fact, especially because it was something I manifested, and it was something like that was a desire that was just as far out of reach for me as any of the other desires or things I intended to manifest. I actually like give thanks and praise for that every day, because it kind of tells me like, okay, all my desires are fulfilled. They all have, as Neville Goddard would say, different intervals of time before they show themselves in reality. But this one happened to come first. And it acts like a sign, like, not to worry, like, I already have this. This was just as far away as any of the other desires or goals I would have wanted to achieve and have. And the fact that I have this, it's kind of like proof that I do have everything I desire already, even if I don't see it in the 3D reality, because I literally did assume I had this autograph for months, and I had no way of knowing how I was going to get it. I didn't know it was going to be on this vinyl copy of this song. Oddly enough, I listen to this song. I love it all the time. It was kind of funny because I really got into this song, and I thought about this song a lot because it was one of Hitomi's first big songs that made her a really big star over in Japan. So the fact that the autograph appeared on that, it was the combination of certain things that were configuring themselves in my mind, and the universe produced it in that sort of form. But I didn't know it was going to be on that. I didn't know how I was going to get this autograph, but I assumed I had it months before I had it, and it sure enough came to pass. So it's kind of proof that like, all the rest of my assumptions are already fulfilled as well, even if I don't see evidence of it. By the way, the Japanese title is Amairo no Kami no Otome. Amairo no Kami no Otome, which, as I said, means the maiden with flaxen hair. And that was actually a cover song for her that became way more successful as her version than the original artist, which is quite impressive. In fact, the original artist was let's see. The Village Singers was the artist who originally did it, but her version was a lot more popular and successful, and it helped make her like a household name in Japan. It was one of her first really big singles. I mean, she was already kicking up a buzz with songs like Liberation Zone and Pop It On and all this, and even her first recording, which was more enka style music, Osaka Woman, which is really good. She was still like building her like empire, we'll say, right? But when that came out, I mean, you look up that video on YouTube, it's literally got over 12 million views. It's huge, and it's one of her most popular songs. I noticed she still performs it in her concerts, and that's why I hope she will get well soon, because she's been touring, she's been doing all these music videos. She's, really involved in loving with her fans, always signing, always taking videos, always commenting to her fans. She works really hard. She's a really loving, kind, and sweet, and an entertainer who is really dedicated to making the people happy. And I admire it. And it's just another thing I really love about her that just makes her really incredible. And I feel like, especially with this summer heat, all the things she's been doing lately, she's just kind of overworked and exhausted herself, which is why she canceled the performance and decided she needed to take a break, take a rest, and hopefully, I'm sure she'll recover well soon. And I'm basically assuming it's already done. Like, that's the way to do it. But I send positive energy and prayers because, yeah, my favorite singer and the woman I love most. So obviously, it would pain my heart to know that she's not well. And hopefully, she's already well. And I send her love and positive energy. And that's why I made like the new song about her, too. So hopefully, while she's resting and recovering, she will see that she's not only touched many fans, but that she's inspired and touched other artists like myself. And that's why I made Boku mo Aishiteru yo. Now, the video is released. You can check it out. And for those who don't know how to write Japanese or type Japanese, if you type My Response to Mystic World, you'll find it on YouTube. And you can also find it on my channel. But yeah, it's got over 100 videos. Hitomi makes a cameo in it. She looks really cute. It's wonderful. We also have this wonderful street performer who is a guitar player playing in the end of the video. He was all excited and happy to make a cameo in the video. In fact, I asked him, I'm like, is it okay if I record you? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. I've never been in a music video. That'd be really cool. He was actually featured in an article written by the Toronto Star about him jamming out in the street too. And then with Hitomi making the cameo, this was videos that I was personally given and received being like a VIP fan. So I was like, oh, well, the video's given to me as a gift so she can make cameo appearances in the video, bobbing her head and whatnot, because, she gave those videos to me as a gift. And also because the song's about her, so she should appear in it at some point. Now, some people commented, well, your appearance in the video is kind of dark. You're very shaded. It was filmed at night. The lighting in the room wasn't the best. But the idea behind that was because I'm Alucard and I'm very mysterious. It also, like, to the Japanese people who would hear the song, they might not be able to tell from certain shots of it. Like, is this guy Japanese? Is he foreigner? Like, this Japanese is very good. In fact, I've gotten praise from a lot of my Japanese fans and friends how well I wrote the song. I even asked my Japanese teacher, Asuka Sensei, and she actually agreed that the song was perfectly well written. Like, it was very well written, especially with the ideas I had in mind. In fact, she said the only thing was with the title, which I already made the correction to the video. The characters I put for Hitomi Shimatani were slightly disorganized. Now, when I wrote the characters out, here's the thing. I actually had all the characters, but because I'm constantly studying and improving my Japanese, I did make a mistake. I kind of put the characters out of order. But I had the right characters, because the characters would have been no Hitomi Shimatani Tameni. And that's wrong. It would actually be Shimatani Hitomi no Tameni. So I reorganized them, put them in the right way. But I had the right characters, just because I'm still learning, I didn't structure them properly. But thanks to Asuka Sensei, domo arigato, I basically learned the proper way of putting the characters, so I fixed that in the title. But she said the song itself is actually really beautifully written, and it's proper Japanese grammar, everything, like the way I sang it. In fact, a lot of my Japanese friends had commented, they said, wow, you're not really just a big fan of her. You really do love her with all your heart. Like, they could tell from understanding the lyrics and the emotion I sang it with and everything. Like, they could tell, like, you really do love her a lot, and I do. So I'm glad that I could make that song for her, especially because she's not feeling well. I mean, the idea was I'm not making it to get anything from her, just, to let her know that she really inspired and, in fact, like, influenced me so much as an artist. I was actually listening to my third album, Mahjong Titan, today. I was reviewing it, and I was like, oh man, that was a great album, because I've been doing that lately, like just reviewing all the records I made. And when I was listening to it, I heard a reference about Hitomi, and it's like, I've heard references about Hitomi on every single record I've ever made, which tells me, like, she's always influenced me and inspired me with ideas. So that's because, like, I love her music. She inspires me. She's a very big influence. And yeah, that's why I made the song for her, is because I really do love her. And it's not to get anything back, but just to show how great of an artist she really is, in that, we as the fans, and me, myself especially, really love her for what she does, and she's great. So hopefully she will get well soon. And we will now conclude our broadcast on that positive note, since nobody else has commented for fortune telling request, and we've already gone over the 30-minute mark. So that's usually what I try to do it for 30 minutes. If there's like people who request readings or fortunes told in the last like 5 minutes or so after the 30 mark, then that's usually when I do them. But since we're concluding, we will leave it at that. I am grateful to anybody who does tune in and watch this. I actually got requests at the end of the second season to come back and make a third season. I wanted to take care of a few things before I came back and did it, but hopefully anybody who does check this out will enjoy it. And as I said, we will start doing this on a regular schedule of every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this broadcast. And be sure to tune in again next Tuesday, 7 p.m. And we will resume with more fortune telling. And like I said, always, if you'd like your fortune told, just comment gender, zodiac, and if you'd like general future, romance, or career after the conclusion of any of these videos. And if I see your comment, I will read your fortune in the following episode. So until next time, everybody take care. Domo arigato gozaimasu, minasan. Oyasumi nasai. Super Kami Guru Alucard. Peace out. Matane.